Mesdames, Messieurs, je vous souhaite la bienvenue.
I would like to welcome you all to this seminar on Moroccan craftsmanship as a vector of inclusion and tolerance as part of Morocco's participation in Expo 2020. The Moroccan Pavilion and the Maison de l'Artisan are organizing this seminar in order to focus on Moroccan craftsmanship as a factor of inclusion and tolerance. We have prominent speakers, Mr. Tariq Sadiq, the General Director of the Maison de l'Artisan, Monsieur Youssef Hosni, or Mr. Youssef Hosni, who's the General Director of the Development Cooperation Office, ODCO, Mr. Muhammad As-Sairi, crafts expert, and Mr. Hisham Lahlou, international designer who has made great leaps in the sector of crafts. This seminar will happen in two phases. We will have an intervention of 8 minutes for each of the speakers, and we will have at the end of each speech a Q&A session. We will be focusing on the Moroccan craftsmanship as a vector of inclusion and tolerance. And my first question is addressed to Mr. Sairi, who's joining us directly. As an expert in crafts, what are the patrimonial aspects that make craftsmanship a vector of inclusion and tolerance? Mr. Sairi. Thank you very much. Honorable ladies and gentlemen, the strategic location of Morocco as a link between Africa and Europe has made it a hub for civilizations. Every civilization has left its footprints. The inhabitants were sharing the lands with the Jewish population, and they used to focus on activities that allowed them to master crafts of linen. With the Roman invasion in the Middle Ages and the province organization, all of this has allowed a new economic production model in agriculture and craftsmanship, namely in terms of the industries of fabrics and the use of the red color, which is a symbol of honor and power used by Romans. At that time, this system was safeguarded. It was put forth by the Romans, and they have introduced new techniques in jewelry. With the arrival of Arabs, the Oriental art has been introduced, including pottery and several dynasties: Idrisi, Alawi, Almohad, Marinid, and Alawite. All of these have learned from the know-how inherited from these civilizations, and thanks to the exchanges with the Iberic Peninsula and the relations with the sub-Saharan Africa, Thanks to all this, this art has been present and has been improving over the years, and it has become a trade activity for these entrepreneurs. Here, I would like to say what Muhammad Hassan al Wazan, who wrote the description of Africa in the 16th century, and who wrote down a description of the economic activities in urban and rural areas in Morocco and Fez at the 16th century, where there were 430 fabric workshops. And this is something that was highly important before the Industrial Revolution. There were 5 million positions in this field. This heritage, which was inherited by through the communities, has given crafts their universal aspect. The craftsmen have become part of this history, and they were enriching every generation, one after the other. And they brought creation and innovation, which were key at that time. Concerning the specificities of this artisanal work, we can find it in architecture, namely in the Occidental Muslim part, with rectangular domes and square minarets. And this is the result of a fusion between the Amazigh Kasbah architecture and the Arab Andalusia style. I can give you a few examples of the minarets, one of them in Marrakesh, another one in Sevilla. And these were the masterworks of Mansour al-Muhad. And among these minarets, like the minaret in Sevilla, we have the builder who was Hamad Oubassou, and his an Amazigh. All of this has been a source of inspiration, and which led to the creation of a school of architecture. There's also another specificity is the Moroccan salon, where we can find a fusion between the Roman style, the barbaric style, and the Andalusia style, which has paved the way for the Moroccan salon, what we call the Moroccan salon. It's influenced by the north of Morocco, and we had some modifications to the national costume of Morocco. There's also another example of the Amazigh heritage, and was also part of the specificities of people who lived in the rural areas at that time and who used to wear a hat. By the way, the Moroccan craftsmanship has become universal thanks to this heritage that has been transferred from one generation to another, and that we can find in many products such as tattoos, carpets, and other aspects of beauty that we can find in geometric products that are simple and pure. So many elements that foster the reputation of Morocco, and the use of Moroccan craftsmanship, and these products have become highly appreciated as they meet the needs of consumers today. Thank you. Thank you. In the context of the craftsmanship evolution, I would like to ask the question to Mr. Al Halo. How does the design become an integral part of Moroccan craftsmanship? Thank you for the question. Welcome, everyone. How does design integrate in the Moroccan craftsmanship? I can say that the community of designers, and throughout several generations, we started our interaction with the craftsmanship. So we have collaborated with the artisans in order to create objects and collections. And I think that the continuity of craftsmanship is essential. It continues to live thanks to its plurality, diversity, and it continues to evolve in interaction with the community of creators and innovators. And I think that the Moroccan pavilion is a clear evidence of what I'm talking about. There's a clear modernity, and and this allows us also to be inspired by Al Qasba and Al Amazigh and the history of Morocco and put it in a contemporary framework and work on the Riyadh, which is the interior of the Moroccan places and the Moroccan designs which were interpreted and analyzed. Here we can see several creations that we did in the project of Al Borak. They have a contemporary look. For example, this is a lamp from Al Far and inspired by the Ramadan from the trumpets used at that time. It's an object that was used several times in hotels in Africa and in the Arab world. We've also witnessed these watches in France. In the whole world, the design, and in Morocco specifically, continues to interact with crafts and craftsmanship. There's always a collaboration among designers, and it's just a reasonable a continuation or continuity of things. And we hope to move this forward. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to invite you to listen to this video of a Moroccan organization, Moresque.
Moresque is a family-owned company based in Fez, Morocco. It specializes in Moroccan traditional authentic handcraft cut tiles, known as zellige. For more than 750 years, zellige, a living tradition, has been a source of interior decorating elements inside mosques, palaces, hotels, homes, and private residences, in addition to monuments. In fact, the use of clay from the mountains specific to the region of Fez and its traditional colors and authentic emeralds make zellige not only a unique commodity, but a source of comfort. When you see colors and shapes evoking nature, it reflects to a deep, rich culture and heritage with sophisticated handicraft. The Naji family has been at the forefront of zellige fabrication for 5 generations in the city of Fez, Morocco. The Naji family has revived the zellige tradition throughout its long experience in the field of handicraft tiles and its long experience with its craftsmanship as well, to create a living tradition that shows a beautiful and stunning environment with a rich and deep culture. The skilled craftsmen and management at Moresque are the driving forces behind its success and accomplishment worldwide. For instance, the Moroccan court at the Metropolitan Museum is the crown jewel achievement of the company in the 21st century, in addition to contributing to build and design hotels, palaces, and restaurants all around the world. And finally, the most recent project is the Royal Atlantis in Dubai, where Moresque has created a unique and astonishing design that reflect to a new era of design in Moroccan zellige. Throughout the years, zellige has made a tremendous impact in humans' life and well-being. Unlike any other form of art, zellige shares a unique characteristic with humans, which is clay, color, and shapes. Zelish invite not only the eye, but also the soul to take a moment of reflection and tranquility and to see the beautiful art form that reflect a living art.
Merci pour votre attention.
Attention. So now we will move to the institutional framework, and the Director General of La Maison de l'Artisan will be speak about the potential of this sector in Morocco. What is the strategy for the development of the sector? The General Director of Handicraft from Morocco, Monsieur Tariq Sadiq. Good morning, everyone. I would like first and foremost to extend my heartfelt thanks to the Maison d'Artisan and to the Moroccan Pavilion in Dubai that gave us the opportunity to tackle the issue of craftsmanship in Morocco. This is a field that has been developing during the last few years, and this also will allow us to give an idea about the cultural heritage of Morocco. Namely, to all those who accepted our invitation today, the prominent panelists. I would also thank specifically everybody who's present in the hall or those who are watching virtually. It's very important for us to speak about Moroccan craftsmanship and how this can contribute to the rapprochement with other countries and to trade and culture in our country. We made sure to start this panel with a historic background. As you know, Morocco is a country that has been involved in craftsmanship over centuries and has accumulated an important patrimonial and heritage value. And this has been possible thanks to the know-how that was passed generation after generation. The Moroccan authorities are aware of these specificities of the country and of the strategies that are necessary in order to promote this know-how, and that include men and women. So these strategies considered to be very important, and the ministry in charge of craftsmanship and La Maison de l'Artisan, which is a public organization, work in the same direction. Our strategy today seeks to continue this very important project, starting with the structuring of the sector. We have the artisan himself. First, we have the cooperation, the whole team that is in charge of that. We have also the SMEs, small and medium enterprises, that continue to export all over the world and who are considered ambassadors of our work. We have also the creator community, including the designers, and we are very delighted to have one of the most prominent designers who has contributed to the development and to the renewal and constant progress of craftsmanship in Morocco. There are also the big distributors, the architects, the influencers, all of these communities that are part of our strategy. We are here to support them, to accompany them, and to make sure that we serve this sector of craftsmanship. In the context of interventions and uh, from our position, we would like to make sure that the Moroccan products maintain their nature, this historic background, and that it evaluates in parallel and progress in parallel. So this continues to be a product of value that we can use every day. This is related to clothes, accessories, jewelry, everything related to the art of setting up a table, of gardens, all of these products that are used every day and that target the different segments of the society and community. So this is where Moroccan craftsmanship can be of value and in a context that should be respected by uh, uh, all internationally. Also there are also other sources in the Mediterranean of craftsmanship, and there are many who invest in the Moroccan craftsmanship, so we want this industry to be as competitive as possible. Moreover, and in order to preserve and promote the Moroccan know how, it's very important to continue to preserve the practices that were inherited by the consecutive generations, to transfer them to the future generations as well. We would like also to focus on training the human capital and the human resources. This would allow to provide them with the necessary and basic skills for this job that is very important today, but that will grow in importance in the future as it's very diversified, it's rich, and Morocco is a country of art, of craftsmanship, and the leadership and His Majesty is aware of this aspect that continue to evolve, as we want Morocco to be a land of culture, of rapprochement, of diversity, of tolerance, and the sector of craftsmanship is just the right vector to continue to move forward with these trends. More than 5 million Moroccans work in the sector of craftsmanship. This is a sector that generates employment, and today craftsmanship is related to art and culture, but I think that it's much more vast and can today it generates 80 billion dirhams annually. And we have also other interesting numbers that we can mention. We are speaking here of 7% of the Moroccan GDP, and here we would like to encourage our public and private partners to continue to work together and develop collaborate with international and local partners. Thank you very much to the Director General of La Maison d'Artisans. And in the same context, the Director General of a Development Cooperation Office can also talk about the inclusion of Moroccan artists in this sector. Mr. Youssef Hosni, good morning, everyone. I would also like to thank everyone who's present here with us. and the panelists. I think that what has been said in this presentation about the institutional framework is very important, and it comes from La Maison d'Artisan. I would like to build on what has been said and speak about the inclusion of artisans through cooperation. And I would like to start with an overview about the cooperatives in Morocco. As you know, Moroccans share so many practices of solidarity and cooperation, and this is governed by values that are internationally recognized in this sector. We can also see a series of practices related to the sharing of resources, common and shared work, the teamwork, which is considered to be a very important aspect of our efforts. Also the education of the youth. So many ancestral practices that have been present in Morocco for long years. We had to wait until the beginning of the 20th century to see the first union or cooperative of consumption, which is an economic way to ensure our objectives. So this happened first in 1922 by the French in Morocco, and this was followed by the Union of Agriculture in 1930, then the Artisanal Union in 1938, and the creation of this bureau, the Bureau of Cooperation. And this is something that has allowed this sector to continue to evolve. We can see the figures during the last 20 years, and the results that go hand in hand with the vision of His Majesty. We can see an evolution of this sector. For example, we were at minus in 2005 to have more than 40,000 in 2020. So it's a very big improvement, and most of those who are active in this sector are men and women, and they contribute to 2% of our GDP. This cooperative national sector is dominated by agriculture, followed by craftsmanship. And during the last 5 years after the adoption of the latest laws, we have seen new forms of cooperation that have resulted in the creation of new job opportunities for the youth. So this dynamic has been present in several areas and provinces in Morocco, depending on the nature of each area and the specificities of the population. This is another very important element in the evaluation of natural resources and the know-how. Regarding craftsmanship, this union or cooperative has played a very important role in the inclusion of artisans during the last 20 years. This has allowed to organize practically many artisans within the same organization, and the number of artisans has been doubled by 20 over the years. We are talking about almost 8,000 in 2020 in the field of carpets, I would also like to add that Morocco gives high importance to the economic independence of women. And in this context, this sector has been one of the leading solutions to include women in the marketplace, and uh, we have witnessed a great evolution of women participation over the years. We started with 146 in 2000, and now we are at more than 6,000. So this proves that this organization has allowed women to grow more independent and to have their own economic autonomy. There is also another important point, which is that we have seen many women organizations in this field, where women have been very active. This comes after agriculture, and namely in Al Ayoun Al Saqiya Al Hamra. So this positive development has happened within a very important and positive environment in the country, a growing solidarity and cooperation among Moroccans, and we have a very positive judicial a framework, namely law number 112, which has facilitated the procedures and allowed access to public markets, in addition to the creation of organizations that are active in this field, and fiscality and imports and exports, and also tax exemptions for specific enterprises. We have also witnessed the creation of a market that focuses on the trade of these products, and a growing number of national programs launched by different and various departments, for example, the strategy for the Green Morocco and other strategies that that are focused on cooperation in order to implement the vision. We have also seen a growing role for the civil society in this sector. This applies to the whole supply chain in the sector from A to Z. We start with the companies that raise awareness, in addition to the judicial organizations. Then we have the legal framework and the financing of projects, and then we have a post creation support for these organizations, and we support them in trading and in commerce. I would like to mention some programs. Murafaka, for example, it's a national program that provides post-creation support in order to ensure sustainability and building technical and managerial capacities in order to meet the needs and ensure the development. Also, group training in order to enhance and fill the gaps related to skills in this field. Also, individual coaching for 2 years for each of these organizations in order to achieve their objectives. Other programs or initiatives, such as the organization of awards that encourage the formation of such organization by women and the youth, and that rewards women are successful in this sector and that target the youth, namely. These awards are financed by the private sector because economic development is the responsibility of everyone. I will stop here and say what I have to say more in our discussion. Thank you. Thank you to the Director General of the Cooperation Development Office for this great intervention. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to invite you to watch two videos, and I would like to invite Mr. Zaira to comment on the videos afterwards.
My name is Wilfried Spencer. I am the ex-president of ICOC, International Conference on Orient Carpets, and in the year 1995 I organized together with the Ministry of Industry and Handicraft of Morocco a conference in Marrakesh about North African carpets, and in that case we developed a special project how carpets was made 200 years ago. That's meaning, of course, with natural dye stuff, and also the secret was how the wool was prepared for the carpet earlier time. It was combed and even separated the inner wool from the outside wool, the long feathered wool from the short feathered wool, and just used the silky long feathered wool. I started then this project just to find out if the scientists was okay, all right. So I started in a village called Amazin on an old volcano on the other side of the High Atlas Mountain. In a village which was at that time 50 kilometers far away from the asphalt road, and we produced there these carpets. You can see one of the carpets in the back side of me. Here is another one. We used for that one, for example, a carpet from the Ourika Valley, which is near to Marrakesh. That was a carpet which was about 50 years at that time old. We are using mainly old traditional designs from Moroccan textiles, but in some cases, like in that one, for example, we use even work from an artist, and as you can see, these are very near to the typical Boucheroid carpet of Morocco, which are in the last years becoming very fashion in Europe. Okay, I think this is enough for information. If you want more, just call me.
رئيسة تعاونية إزناغن النسوية للزربية الأصيلة. تعاونية إزناغن اللي كتوجد في الجامعة الترابية إزناغن منطقة تزناخ إقليم ورزازات جهة درعا تافيلات اللي كتخدم على الزربية الووزكيتية ديال مناطق أيت ووزكيت. كنعرفوا أن المناطق ديال أيت ووزكيت تبارك الله فيها واحد الكم الهائل من النساجات كيتوفر على 22,000 نساجة. تعاونية إزناغن فيها مجموعة من النساء تقريبا اللي كيخدموا هذا المنتوج هذا اللي كتضم 63 منخرطة. الهدف ديالها هو أنها كتخدم على السوسيو اقتصادي للنساء النساجات القرويات بالمنطقة، وكذلك كتخدم معهم في المجال الاجتماعي، كتخدم معهم في الصحة الإنجابية، كتخدم معهم كذلك في محاربة الأمية، كتخدم معهم كذلك في البيئة والبيئة والأهمية ديالها بالنسبة للزربية، لأن إلا كنا كنهضروا على البيئة فإننا كنهضروا على مجموعة من الأعشاب اللي كنخدموها في الصباغة الطبيعية ديال الزربية ديالنا. تعاونية إزناغن كذلك عندها واحد الهدف، وهو هدف أساسي بالنسبة للمنتوج ديالنا، وهو التسويق ديال هذا المنتوج، لاننا كنعرفوا في المنطقه ان كاين بزاف ديال الوسطاء اللي كيديو كلشي، ولكن السيده اللي كتخدم وكتدوز واحد
Merci beaucoup.
Thank you very much. Mr. Saidi. Can you please comment on the second video? I would just like to comment on the two videos first. So the two videos are focused on the same area. It's a region or area that focus on traditional carpets. This is one of the sectors and field that has remained authentic over the years. These are carpets that are very rich and authentic. Concerning the Ikamassin carpet, Donzer is an expert in carpets and was the president of the international experts in carpets and has written many books on the barbaric carpets in Morocco. He worked within the framework of a project launched by an Austrian company that focuses on carpets and other covers. And there was a German professor, Harald Baumann, that has focused on the creation of this industry in Turkey. He came to Morocco in order to spread this craftsmanship, and this is how they started working on a carpet that was traded later on, and you've seen it on the video. One of the consequences on the village is that it became specialized in these carpets and witnessed visitors coming from all over the world in order to learn more about not only our experience in carpets but also the improved revenue through rural tourism. As to the lady, she's an entrepreneur that has great energy and that has been able to create a union to support women and to support carpets and traditional craftsmanship, and in order to be able to sell these carpets directly to the consumers. So this is in brief what I wanted to say about the two videos. Thank you, Mr. Sairi. In conclusion of this first part, I would like to open the floor for Q&A so we can take advantage of the presence of these prominent speakers. Do you have any questions?
Speak in English. I'm sorry, I cannot speak French, but I will learn, so I want to visit Morocco very soon. Thank you very much for today. We learned too much about the crafts there, and I think it's not only important for Morocco, it's important for all the Arab world because it's a part of our history. But I'm asking about the families there that, as we say, maybe in Sudan, we have like families work generations in the crafts and they grow the business. And it's not about only the people that are in village. So I would like to know what about the experience in Morocco. There is like generations of the families who's working with craft and it's still in 2000 or 2021, still there and they are famous and they are young and they have a new creative ideas to improve it or no. Thank you. That's my first question, and then I will repeat.
So maybe we can answer this first question.
Okay. Écoutez, thank you very much for the question. Very personal. Indeed, we have a very strong relationship with families in Morocco because those families who are working in artifacts and handicraft sectors are, of course, a main part of our process to develop our region, to develop our backyard, back that country. And we are in a kind of win-win relationship with those people, because they are, of course, producing an important part of our handicraft, and of course they are earning money about this. But they are also helping us in preserving and developing all the knowledge and transmitting it between generations. So we are now very interested to keep this balance and continue to work and push to grow up those families and help them and try to make them and facilitate the access or the tools, the knowledge, the investment, and the infrastructures as well. But also on the other hand, try to capitalize on the huge and deep knowledge of the handicrafts of Morocco, to preserve it and transmit to other generations. Thank you.
Merci beaucoup, Monsieur Sadiq. D'autres questions?
Are there any other questions?
I'm a journalist. I have to ask a lot of questions to finish my page for tomorrow. About the designs here, I would like to ask our designer here about how they mix, you know, the heritage with the new designers. I forget, I'm sorry, sir. The name, Mr. Halawain?
C'est Monsieur Lahlou.
No, it's okay. I'm talking about the design, the new design, the modern design. All the time it's coming back to the heritage and take like a piece or then elements from it to give us the balance, as he mentions already. How you what you say, we can manage to work with the elements of the heritage and do an modern pieces and to produce it not only for the Arab world, also for an international places, and how we can get also on a place to say it's made in Morocco with love, with heritage.
Thank you for the question. I will answer in English. So regarding your question, I can say we are, with my international background as an international designer, I can say that the creation, first of all, it's universal, because as all designers, we are using the same process of creation. But the difference between us, it's our heritage or our interactions with the other cultures. For example, we are coming from Africa, and most of the Arab countries, parts of them are in Middle East, and parts of them are in Africa. So there is a global interaction, connection with different civilization came to us. And we become, like he said, for example, in Morocco, Mr. Sairi, we become Morocco a plurality of identity. We are multicultural, if I can say. So in my process of creation, indeed, I work with artisans since when I become designer and interacted 26 years ago. But also when I'm doing collaboration for international brands, like you have seen before with Dome in France or with Aviland, it's international brands using high level of handicraft, luxury handicraft. They contact international designers to make collaboration. This is what they are doing also in Morocco. They collaborate with famous local designers and also other designers coming from Europe or other parts of the world. And I think interaction, even if I can talk about Morocco, there is several architects and decorators, designers from different parts of the world taking inspiration from Morocco. We can also take an example about Picasso. All the heritage of Cubism, it's coming from African masks. So there is a lot of Africa, it's a matter of humanity. So we inspire the world from a while. And as an example, Morocco is this part of the world, because we are the gates of Africa. Different influences make me, as a designer, interconnecting with this heritage as well. But also, when I'm traveling, I'm connected to other culture that I like. And sometimes I can find connection with other culture with my culture.
What about the American designers in Morocco? How do you support them, you know, to get this experience and to be so linked to the heritage?
Okay,
the young designers.
I can say, first of all, from the beginning, several designers in Morocco start to work with the la Maison de l'Artisan, because they start to support us and to invite us to several fairs, because they are in charge of the promotion of handicraft and as well design. And also they start to do with Ministry of Handicraft and also Tourism, different experiences to create collections. Each designer have the choice to target on maybe copper or leather or whatever to create a collection and to make a collaboration. So it's from years and years that we are connected to Maison de l'Artisan and Ministry of Handicraft, and it's we have institutions in Morocco that they support us. And if you want to exhibit, for example, in Paris, in New York, in Germany, and whatever, they support you as a subvention. You can, for example, rent a space in a very famous fair, and they support a big part of the, if I can say, the square meter to help you to promote yourself and to promote your production or your collection as well that you are doing with artisans, for example. So we have a different issues in Morocco that state with different institutions are here to promote globally the handicraft, and then as well different persons or different corporations and also as a designers. We are all connected, and I'm here. Thank you.
Merci beaucoup, Cyril. Donc on aura l'occasion d'échanger à la fin de la deuxième partie.
Change our point of views after the second part. Now, moving on to the second part. Ladies and gentlemen, concerning the first part, we have looked at the patrimonial aspects of Moroccan craftsmanship as a vector of inclusion and tolerance. In the second part, we will be highlighting the development of this sector and the opportunities that are created by the Moroccan craftsmanship sector. My first question will be addressed to Mr. Sairi. What are the main trends in craftsmanship internationally? Mr. Sairi, the question is addressed to you. Thank you. Dear participants, one of the consequences of the pandemic is the tendency to consume locally and to use producers that are close to us, and in order to limit the impact of transportation on the climate. And in order to follow the trends of 2021 and 2022, there's a current trend of the comeback of retro and the comeback of the linen in several areas. And the Nordic environment that is imposing himself with the colors that we see in this part. So we can see two predominant trends that continue to be present in the market of art and craftsmanship. So in addition to the wall, we can see that today we are spending more time in our places than any time before. Because beforehand we used to spend 1 hour, now we're spending 1 hour and 1 hour and a half more in our places thanks to the remote work and the social media and the development of the internet. As a result of that, we are spending more time home. That's why through ethnic products that respect nature, we have started using them more. The Moroccan craftsmanship finds its place in this framework. For example, the Moroccan carpets that have moved are used on the walls so many times, and the growing value of cushions and curtains, and also the traditional industries such as the black soap that is used in the hammam and the humid rooms, and that are used in Europe and other countries, and that are present in several salons and places. The prominent architect who designed the Twin Towers in Casablanca has also played an important role. Also, the zelige, this traditional mosaics of tiles that are regrouped together in order to decorate walls and floors and fountains, are now present in galleries in Europe and the United States of America, and they are very well known and researched. They are also used in several salons. So what we notice today is that there is a growing demand on zelige, the simple squares with traditional colors. Moreover, and within the same classy aspects, today we see a trend that is represented by a simple interior and simple colors, and white is the predominant color. We add to it gray and green and other colors of nature. So it's a universe of a carpet that is so diversified, a carpet that has been made with techniques that date back to a long time. Concerning the natural fibers that are very well researched among the main trends today, in Morocco there are so many choices. We have the palm trees, alpha, and so many products that contribute to the creation of many products that are for daily use. Moreover, and in addition to this trend, in Morocco we have a series of products that have been made with a simple technique, and also products for the garden. So we have a diversified choice, including material. The Moroccan craftsmanship, which is rich and diversified, meet all the style needs, and also the creation and innovation that started in Morocco at the beginning of the 20th century. How the artisan, the urbanist, and the artist meet together in the 20th century. It's an Arab Moroccan art that has given in the beginning of the 1930s, made Casablanca an open book that has inspired many art schools all over the world, and has allowed Moroccan craftsmanship to be present and appreciated in several markets. Thank you, Mr. Sairi. We continue with Mr. Hisham Al-Ahlou. As an international designer, how do you perceive the development of design in Moroccan craftsmanship? Thank you for the question concerning the development of craftsmanship in design. I think that we should continue the current dynamic. We should continue with the institutions of the Moroccan state, the initiatives, collaborations among designers and artisans, the unions, the organizations, or maybe to set up a new dynamic in order to encourage further new designers to create their art, their collections, and benefit from their international reputation in order to showcase their work and this collaboration with artisans. I also think that it's an opportunity through the Moroccan Pavilion and Expo 2020 in Dubai. It's an opportunity to showcase these products, and this is an invitation for designers who come from Africa and the Arab world to share their experience and speak about their work, because this is a gate to the world. Dubai today is a gate to the world. My colleagues and myself are ready to help. So I think that collaborations between artists and designers is present in Morocco and all over the world. In 2018, I was contacted in Milano by Marwan Griffin, who is a founder of one of the most prominent salons in Milano, and the brothers Campana as a commissioner in order to organize an exhibition in Latin America and cooperate with in cooperation with African and Latin American designers. This has been acclaimed internationally, and this has allowed us to showcase our talents and skills. There are many examples of collaborations among designers and artisans. Why? Because this is something that is necessary, that is primordial, and Morocco has so many secular traditions that have evolved over the years. And we have artisans in Morocco, and maybe some don't know that use the same techniques that used to be employed 600, 700, even 1,200 years ago, and this is surprising. I started when I was 26 years old. I was a designer, seeing this happening in workshops, and I was in awe. I think that these collaborations should continue and should be encouraged further. I would also like to invite you to see the several concepts that are exhibited, and in the concept store there are many creators who are showcasing their work, and this reflects what's happening in Morocco. I would also like to invite you to discover the very beautiful Moroccan restaurant and the gastronomy, the Moroccan cuisine. Shumisha, a very well-known Moroccan chef, is here, and he has Bab el Mansour, a Moroccan restaurant in Dubai. So this creativity also brings innovation to the Moroccan cuisine. Morocco is a very dynamic country. We have fashion creators, and we have so many things happening, so much of interaction among designers and artisans. Thank you. Thank you, Monsieur Halou. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to invite you to watch two videos from UNDA, UNCSP, and I would like to invite Mr. Saeri to comment on these videos later on. Thank you.
Marrakech est une ville qui regorge de talents créatifs. J'y suis née
Talents. I started with the UN Agency for Industrial Development. The European Union has financed the development of of creative and artisanal industries in order to support creative capacities. I have organized workshops with prominent designers, Giulio Venaggia and Hisham Leroux, our national flagship. And during this week of workshops, we worked hand in hand in order to create new products that can foster our production. There are 30 public and private actors that seek to support the Moroccan craftsmanship. 5 skills: furniture, table art, lighting, decoration, and the fabrics for the house. During this workshop, many products have seen the light. Designers and architects. These products are very diversified and will be soon made available to the public. I am really keen on creativity, creative Mediterranean resilience through creativity. Thank you very much for your attention. We move to the institutional framework. Mr. Tariq Sadeh, who will be answering the question, what are the opportunities of partnership and cooperation for the development of the craftsmanship sector? As it has been said and reminded by the panelists, there's a clear will from several stakeholders. So as a public institution responsible for this sector, we have so many axes of partnership. The first one, and I would like to seize this opportunity because I've seen that there are many journalists present here with us. We have a program of partnership and the communication and simplification of the concepts. So we organize visits for journalists from different areas around the world so they can see with their own eyes what Morocco has been able to achieve in craftsmanship and what the artisans do, what the designers do, the e-commerce, the people who live in rural areas. So we organize sessions and travels periodically, and we would be delighted to have journalists in Dubai and other stakeholders and colleagues over there in case they have interest to have a closer look to what we do. We are working on a program of awareness in the sector of craftsmanship. Moroccan organizations or foreign organizations in Morocco in order to support them throughout the several phases and the design, because it's the heart of craftsmanship. So we have units also for support and the resources that are used and the material that is used, what's the most competitive, what's the most convenient. And there's also another phase related to the production process in terms of the supply chain, etc. And in terms of development and training and marketing of products. We have programs for individual artisans through the system, and Mr. Hosni, who's over there, has done a great job in terms of unions, and we would like to salute him. We are also working on partnership programs that we are ready to implement with the whole ecosystem of e-commerce, which is essential nowadays. We have very experienced people and experts, and we are delighted to be able to discuss with these operators how we will be able to conduct business through Morocco and with several regions around the world with the most competitive conditions. Likewise, we are also working with professional purchasers and big furniture shops and galleries that are interested in craftsmanship and looking forward to have more partnerships. And we are also working with the designers. There will be programs in order to have the couple designer artisan. We encourage Moroccan and international designers to come to Morocco so they can develop their know-how, and we can create partnerships with Moroccan artisans and influencers on social media and architects or critics who can really have a closer look to what we are doing in Morocco in this field. So it's a list of possible partnerships, and we will be proud and delighted to offer these programs and to discuss further these opportunities that are made available today in Morocco. There are also enterprises who have market share internationally and who might be interested to grow in other markets. So we at La Maison de l'Artisan are looking forward to provide the necessary support for these people, and we can put you in touch with the stakeholders. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Tariq Saad. Mr. Hosni, what are the perspectives of the development of craftsmanship? Thank you very much. Before speaking about the perspectives of development, I would like to present the current state of the sector and the current challenges facing this cooperative sector, and to build on what was said by the Director General. So we have the vulnerability of the actors in the system and the lack of structuring and the absence of a structured framework so they can increase their volume of production and to be able to rationalize and negotiate with providers and potential clients. When you are small, you cannot enter bigger markets amid the competitivity. So it's very important to improve this aspect. There's also another side, which is the capacities and the competences and skills of the people who are present in rural areas and who are not structured and educated enough in order to manage these cooperatives. So these are namely the challenges, and in front of these challenges we have put forth is a strategy that encourages the creation of new unions, new cooperatives of youth in the sector of craftsmanship, while attempting to provide the necessary professional training. And the youth will be more open to innovation while contemplating and preserving traditional techniques so they can move forward with this sector and revive it further. So through this strategy, we are also focusing on post-creation support so we can help them throughout the first few years that are considered to be the most challenging, and to structure them and put them within aggregators that are already present. And I think that foreign partners can support us in this aggregation process. We have a very interesting presentation related to that, and experience of a local business being accompanied by foreign international parties throughout the process of production and evaluation, and this has allowed them to enter and access international markets in the United States and in the Middle East. So I think that this is an aspect that where so many things can be done in the production of carpets, also protection of sellers, and at the international level. So there is an aspect related to supporting these unions so they can access international markets, also support them in terms of digitization and access to African markets through international exhibitions that are dedicated to this, through B2B and B2C meetings, allowing them to enter more important markets. So this sheds the light on the importance of unions and cooperatives within this institutional framework, and with the support of national and international partners in order to move forward. Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Hosni. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like you again to take advantage of the presence of these prominent speakers, so you can ask your questions at the end of the second part. Good evening. I'm an interior architect living in Dubai. How can we ensure cooperation with interior architects in Morocco with us here in Dubai? And I would like to thank everyone who can contribute to this. As a young entrepreneur in Dubai, the problem is the difficulty of promoting Moroccan craftsmanship. There's craftsmanship from India, from other countries. How do you think we can ensure cooperation with the ministry, with Moroccan architects and designers, so we can promote Moroccan know-how? Thank you. Thank you for the question. I think that we are in need of synergy of building bridges in order to transfer the Moroccan know-how that can be of interest to professionals like you. And this is the case of the Moroccan craftsmanship that is sometimes involved in projects in the GCC countries, and also signing partnerships with professionals. So we cannot upload with one hand. If we can do it all together, this would be more powerful. And I would also like to call on all organizations in the United Arab Emirates, namely in Dubai, to play a role in regrouping us as actors in the Arab world and African continent, because this is also a role that should be played by them, and to take advantage of Expo 2020 in Dubai in order to organize sessions, discussions. All of this will allow us to shine as Arabs and Africans. So this is the opportunity that can be provided through this gathering. Thank you. I would like to thank you for your question, and I would like to add that as a public institution and or organization in Morocco, we are responsible for getting in touch with all potential partners. As an architect, it is in our interest to cooperate with you. We receive dozens of requests weekly and monthly from inside Morocco and outside, from different organizations who are in need of or who are interested in building relations with craft experts and traditional craftsmen. And this is our role to build these bridges. If you have a specific request or a project that requires traditional industries in Morocco, such as the decoration, furniture, we will be delighted to put you in touch with the right people and with the traditional craftsmen who can accommodate your request. Thank you. Are there any other questions? Go ahead, please.
So firstly, just my question first, first I have to admire the whole work that you are doing with the ladies there, and we're talking about strong, independent women in Morocco working with craft, and this is amazing. But we can say also the sensibility, okay? The idea of the craft, it's also provide us with another phase of sensibility. How you can compare that, okay, with the modern classic factories who's doing also the different? How you can cooperate to just to make that the world is better with the environment, and we're working with the craft and we're trying to protect our earth. So the crafts are also protecting our earth, I think so also. But to go back again to the modern life, I think also here Mr. Halawi, he is supporting also the craft in this phase. And we're talking about the days of tolerance, and I think also about heritage and about how to use the craft as elements to say that we are in the world of tolerance. You didn't speak about the tolerance today, so I would love to hear some words from you, if you don't mind. Thank you. It's a long question, I know.
Bon, j'essaierai de répondre en français, désolé.
You answer in French, I'm sorry. So you'll be relying on translation. You spoke on how we can consider craftsmanship as a vector of tolerance. We spoke about women cooperatives and unions that have been very active in this field, and this allow women to gather with other women so they can do something other than taking care of their family, the kids, so they can be independent, financially independent. So when women started working outside the household, it means women are ready to take part in gatherings to sell their products. So it's a type of tolerance, of an open spirit that where crafts women started selling their products with other Moroccan people, and sell their products even to foreigners. So this is a mean or a vector of tolerance that can be promoted by women. Regarding the preservation of heritage and to be open to the future at the same time, and innovation and craftsmanship, I think that the Moroccans were able to preserve and maintain this know-how, and this is what we have seen throughout the presentations. But at the same time, Moroccans have been open to new techniques and innovation, and to adapt to what's happening internationally and put it in the context of Morocco. And the Moroccan youth, and through experience, we've seen that they have the capacity to preserve their ancestral know-how that they have learned through masters of craftsmanship, and to include these new innovative means and ways, so these craftsmen will have this new vision that is accepted internationally. Thank you. If you allow me to intervene, just to answer this question related to tolerance. In fact, we spoke of craftsmanship as an activity where it can be a vector of tolerance, because Moroccan craftsmanship has been able to exist thanks to our tolerant and open society. We have the Amazigh who live in coherence with a Jewish part of the population, and each had a part of their culture that contributed with. We have seen the Amazigh tribes and their history, and who have different origins. Who were working together. Also, Morocco is open to the several African roots, and we find a lot of this African aspect in our craftsmanship and the fabrics, and our music, Lignawa, which has an African origin. This is the Moroccan heritage that is very rich and diversified. It is the fruit of tolerance and open society that accepted Arabic, that came and stayed in Morocco. And I can give you an example of Arabs who stayed in the beginning in the southern part of Morocco, the tribe of Mhamna, in the southern province between Mauritania and Morocco, and the tribes who stayed in the southern part of Marrakesh, and who created a community and started their habits of their Arab traditions, and how they started working on the fabrication of tents. the traditional ways and habits of building these tents. So they have adopted these practices with the carpet, and they have borrowed from other tribes some techniques and practices and added some motifs and drawings of animals and humans, which added to the beauty of these carpets. So this is a population that integrated with the Amazigh population and that has borrowed craftsmanship habits and also the cultural and living habits. So this is how Morocco was able to be influenced by Andalusia, the Romans, from so many diversified civilizations. And this is what together created this very diversified and rich heritage in Morocco. I hope that I have answered your questions in terms of tolerance. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Sairi. Ladies and gentlemen, in conclusion, I would like to thank you for your attention, and I would like to give the floor to Mr. Sade, the Director General of La Maison d'Artisans, to conclude. Mr. Sade, the floor is yours. Thank you very much. I would like to reiterate my heartfelt thanks to the Moroccan representatives in Dubai. I would also like to thank the panelists present in Dubai and everywhere else. I would also like to thank you for your interventions. We are counting on you to move forward with this sector in Morocco. I would also like to thank everyone who's present in the hall or watching virtually for accepting our invitation and listening or taking part in this debate. We will be honored and happy to maintain this channel of exchange with the people who are interested in craftsmanship in Morocco and Moroccan craftsmanship internationally, so we can together develop this sector and move forward with this partnership that I have already mentioned. I would also like to thank the technical team. Without the technical team, it wouldn't have been possible to exchange our points of view today. And I hope to see you soon. Well done, Moroccan Pavilion, and well done for also supporting the reputation of Morocco. Thank you.